Welcome back to yet another Sunday Mindset video. Today we're talking more mindset around money. Money is a topic I've been fascinated by since I can remember. A lot of my story grew up in a trailer park, and it was just kind of like, we didn't have money and I knew it. And so from an early age, I remember making a vow of like, I'm never doing this again. I am never not going to have money. I'm going to have more and more than enough to even take care of the people around me. I'm never going to be in this place. And I remember making that vow, and there's a lot of story I can get into. Maybe someday we can. But even just sitting on a school bus and you know, it would pick me up in front of the trailer park, and then I saw other kids in houses. And there was this deep longing as a kid. So I want to bring that into context. Second thing I want to say is my relationship with money has massively changed over the last decade. From, you know, just surviving and trying to make it, from grind and hustle to actually making some money, to making more than enough money, to starting to ask questions of like, what do I want to do with the rest of my life, to like getting into a place where I would never ever have to work. Now, what do I really want to do? What can I choose to do? And so my relationship with money and the way I think about money has massively evolved over the last decade, and I'm blessed to be able to have these kind of conversations on a daily, weekly basis with clients and members on wherever they are in their journey. And I don't know where you are. Maybe you're in like survival. I got to make just enough. Like I've got to pay the bills this month, and I don't know how I'm going to. Did that for 5-6 years. Totally know where you're at. And it's the only thing you can think about. It's like very short term. I got to make money. I got to make it now. To like, you know, lower to middle to even upper middle class of like, I make kind of more than enough. It covers the bills. I have maybe a little left over, maybe not, but I'm comfortable. And that can lead to a lot of pain, because now we start compromising, and maybe we're doing something that we don't really want to do, but it's not that bad and it kind of pays the bills, and we get into this kind of complacent place of compromise where we're just kind of going through the motions. And that's a really difficult place to be too. And I've been there and I get it. I had a business at one point that was paying me really good money, but I wasn't aligned with it anymore, and I didn't really even enjoy showing up every day. But hey, it's good money, so we'll just kind of keep doing it. And then maybe you get to a place where it's like, well, you have excess. You're investing it. Your investment income is paying you. You really wouldn't have to work another day in your life if you didn't want to. And that can be a really difficult place too, because none of us are taught that, and most of us we're not prepared for when that happens. Let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. We've worked with like people who've invested $5-10 million into DeFi. And a lot of that, I love having conversations with people who have, it's not a dollar amount, but just like they wouldn't have to work another day in their life. And some of them choose to ask deeper questions. It's oftentimes down a spiritual path they go. And some people aren't. They just stay in the materialistic realm, and there's no right or wrong. It's just everyone's on their own journey. I'm bringing this up because money is such a fascinating topic, and sometimes it takes, actually I think it always takes like a paradigm shift and a different way of thinking and relating with money to get out of your current situation. And some of the most valuable things, there's two things that I think were invaluable for me that I learned in my money lessons or relationship with money or journey with money. Well, there was actually really three. I grew up fairly in a really religious family, and there was this, it wasn't said directly, but there was this underlying kind of like rich people or wealthy people. They were kind of like, they weren't good people. And, you know, I mean, just like the Bible and a lot of spiritual texts that are misinterpreted will say, you know, money is the root of all evil. And they miss it's the love of money that's the root of all evil. But for a long time, every time I made any money, I'd feel guilty, and I'd end up finding a way to lose it, to gamble it away. It was like, I just repelled money. Even if I had a really good month, I remember on the oil rigs, I was making a ton of money, and I still never had any because, well, I don't want to be rich or wealthy because then I'd be a bad person. And there was this like deep-seated belief when I was a child that it was instilled, wasn't directly talked about. And when I talk to a lot of people, even if they're not religious, there's still this like almost like this underlying, this current, this belief in most of society that it's like, well, you're not a good person if you have money. It's better to be, you know, poor or struggle. There's like this, there's almost this pride in the struggle. Oh, I could never afford that. Oh, maybe someday I could buy that. And it's almost like this pride. I remember that very well and having to reprogram that. Actually read into the text and read into the underlying message and understand that it wasn't true. And it was gonna be no longer true for me. I could be a really good person and have money. In fact, the more money I have, the better person I can be. I don't talk about this on the marketing public side, and so I'll just quickly mention it, but like we're standing behind more and more charities that are feeding more and more families on a monthly basis, supplementing their incomes all around the world, and my goal is to have hundreds of families on that roster. I could not do that if I didn't have money. And so I think money, a better way to put that is money is an amplifier of who you are. And it will amplify your problems, which is why I'm so grateful I didn't become I didn't make millions of dollars in my 20s because I wasn't healed as a human yet. I didn't do the work. I would have been a mess. That's like when you see a 22-year-old who makes it big and sometimes they self-destruct. They weren't ready for the money yet. So if you're in a season of like working on yourself, becoming a better person, and you're not seeing the money yet, good. Work on the human, and when the money comes to you, it'll amplify who you are, and it'll also amplify the problems and the character flaws and the maybe unhealed parts of you, and then you have an option because it will become very evident, and then you have an option to slow down, heal that part of you, and keep growing as a human. Money can be very destructive, or it can be very constructive. And I think because so much of society is all of us are in a way, damaged and flawed and have work to do. We equate, when someone just gets money, they become a bad person, but it's just amplifying the shadow side of the parts of them. And I could talk about this forever, but I'm going to end it there. I hope the meaning is coming across. Let me know in the comments. So money is not the root of all evil. It's an amplifier. And ask yourself this, and you can let me know in the comments. If you got $10 million, would you be a better person? Or do you think you would self-destruct? Would it be destructive to you? And there's no right or wrong there, but have a think through that. Would you do good with it? Or would you do bad with it? And if you're watching this, you're probably like, I would do good with it. Well, awesome. Then go get it. You're deserving of. There's more than enough of it. They print it every day. The second thing I think I was really afraid of, and what held me back a lot from the money game, was, money comes with insane responsibility, and it's almost like the fear of success for me that rang really, really true. When I was 25, I was on the oil rigs. I was making decent money. I never owned a brand new vehicle before. I always drove shit boxes. Grateful to be able to drive Lamborghinis and Porsches and R8s and amazing supercars nowadays. But back then I drove, I had a $500 Dodge D100, and the headers the exhaust was rusted. So it just had open headers, like a crap box. And I had this fear of success. Anyways, I bought a Jeep, a brand new Jeep, whenever that was, 2018 or 17. The Wranglers came out, like the new Wrangler X or whatever, and I bought it off the dealer. Didn't know much about money and depreciation, but I bought it because I got financing for it. And I was driving down a street, and there was a bunch of people in need, homeless. I don't know if you know Hastings in Vancouver. Shout out, let me know. I lived in Delta at the time, but I was driving down Hastings, and I just felt so much guilt for just driving this vehicle. It was new, I had the heat on, and there was just people in need, and I felt so much guilt. And there was this fear of success that and this was not a fancy vehicle, by the way. This was a base model Jeep, but in my eyes, I made it. I remember pulling up to places and just feeling this guilt and the shame that, will people look at me and think something or other? And there was a lot of healing that took place. I get to drive a Lamborghini now. I do not identify with it. It's just a beautiful work of art. And I'm able to share it with so many people. And if someone wants to judge me, that's a reflection. That's their own reflection of themselves. And I get it, because I was that guy. When I saw someone in a supercar, I judged them. I was like, it was just a mirror for me. And so I'm grateful that I get to be a mirror for other people these days. I know we're almost at 10 minutes here, so I'll speed this up a little bit. So it's this fear of success, fear of shining bright, fear of being seen, fear of the responsibility that came with it, which I had to reprogram and realize the game actually gets easier. The game actually gets easier. Yes, there may be more responsibility because I'm growing as a human, I can handle that responsibility. I'm a good person, I can steward it well. And the first one with that, money is the root of all evil. It's the love of money. It's that greed. It's that lust where we compromise and we break kind of moral code in order to get it. that is the root of all evil. Money itself is neutral, which brings me to the third point. I'll make this really, really quick. I heard this, I think 5 or 6 years ago, and I was like, yep, it's like money is a resource. I stopped thinking in terms of dollars and money and bank accounts, and I just saw it as like a treasure chest or an armory of resources. So I can just do more of what I want to do and serve the world and give to the world and be able to build the things that I really want to build with more people and speed it up. I had resources. It wasn't money. At some point, it's like, there's no other. I was out for a drive today and I was like dreaming about what else I want. Like there's not much I want materially. I'm working on my pilot license and I'd like to buy a little a bush plane, like a Super Cub, to be able to fly it. We're moving to a new place in March and there's a airport 10 minutes from me, and I want to take that super seriously so I can like go and explore the backcountry in a bush plane. But like other than that, there's not really many things materially I want. And at some point you stop thinking of money as dollars when you can pay the bills and your expenses can be covered by, let's say, your investment income. You start thinking of it in terms of resources. What's my mission? What's my purpose? What do I want to create? And do I have the resources for it? How can I gather more resources? Resources, by the way, isn't always money. That could be a whole other video that we dive into. Is like how people say that you need money to make money, and I'm like, false. You need to be resourceful and gather resources to make it. In fact, money is sometimes the last thing we need because we don't yet know how to multiply money, and it can actually become a problem. But anyways, that's let me know if you want a video on that topic. But money is just a resource. I also heard, this is probably 4 years ago and I loved it, is if money can solve a problem, it's not a problem. Oh, wow, that's a different way of looking at things. If money can solve it, it's not a problem. Oh, okay. My garage door broke. Okay, well, money can solve it. I've got the money. It's actually not a problem. That's what the usefulness, that's what resources are for, to solve our problems. And eventually, and this is something we could also dive into in another video, eventually you're left with the only problem that money can't solve, which is this stuff. And to me, the game of money is to be able to free up our time so money can solve all the problems that money can solve, and then we have the time to actually solve the only problem money can't directly solve, which is this. I promise you, that journey is everything. That's where you find that peace and that actual fulfillment and that actual connection to God and universe and source and spirit, however you want to put this. And I think people miss that. Oh, I could talk about this stuff forever. I hope this just helps one person. It's always my intention with these Sunday videos. If it just helps one person, my job is complete, and this YouTube channel has served its purpose. So do let me know if anything landed. Do let me know in the comments at Rubixinator on Instagram if you want to send me a message of some sorts. Would love to connect. Would love to chat. Probably get 8 to 10 DMs per day on Instagram, and I do my absolute best to be able to respond. It's always awesome at least reading how a video or something impacted you in a positive way, whether it's free, whether it's in the UIG, or whether it's our one-on-one clients, whether you never pay us a dime or you pay us thousands of dollars. To me, it doesn't matter. It's like, can we just impact one person per day, every single day, 365 days per year over the next couple decades? And it's like, I feel like my job and why I'm here on the planet, my mission will be accomplished. So even if you've never paid us a dime, hit me up, DM on Instagram. And even if you never plan on paying us a dime, you are part of things. I want to hear from you at Rubixinator on Instagram. And with that said, we'll see you in the next video. Peace.